The viral Trainwreck. Jessica Batten is a fitness and lifestyle professional from Chicago who appeared on Love is Blind Season 1 in 2020 and became, essentially against her will, one of the most discussed contestants in reality television that year. She got engaged to Mark Cuevas in the pods. She was also very visibly, very vocally, very consistently interested in Matt Barnett, who chose someone else. She brought her dog to the dinner table. She gave her dog wine. She told Mark she loved him while staring into the distance like she was calculating an exit route. Jessica was not a bad person doing bad things. She was a person in a situation she had not fully thought through, making decisions in real time while cameras documented all of it. And the result was some of the most compulsively watchable television Season 1 produced. She was 34 and kept mentioning it. Mark was 24 and kept not caring. That age gap became a whole national conversation that Jessica did not sign up to be the face of. What made her fascinating was the transparency of the internal conflict. She was not hiding that she was uncertain. She was uncertain out loud, on camera, in front of Mark, at their engagement dinner, at the altar. The audience found it maddening and could not look away. That combination is the definition of this archetype, and Jessica Batten is its founding text. The unbothered villain. Shaina Hurley is a hairstylist from Chicago who got engaged to Kyle Abrams in the pods of Season 2, spent the majority of the post-pod experience either praying about it or finding reasons to be in Shayne Jab's orbit, the man she actually wanted, and ultimately left Kyle at the altar. She is now married to Christos Lardakis, whom she met shortly after filming Wrapped. She became a Christian during the process of filming this show, which she mentioned frequently and which did not appear to influence her behavior toward Kyle in any way that Kyle would have found comforting. Shayna's interest in Shayne, who was engaged to Natalie Lee, was consistent, documented, and deeply uncomfortable to watch play out in front of the person she was supposed to be building a future with. What elevated her to iconic status within this archetype was the serenity with which she operated. She had conversations with Shayne that were a lot for someone who was technically engaged to someone else. She left Kyle at the altar and was in a new relationship and then married within a timeline that made the entire Love is Blind process look like a minor calendar inconvenience. The self-respect icon. Deepti Vempati is a data analyst and author from Chicago who got engaged to Abhishek Sheikh Chatterjee in the pods of Season 2 and spent the engagement in a situation that tested the outer limits of what self-respect looks like when you are genuinely falling for someone who is, simultaneously, saying deeply uncomfortable things about physical attraction in his confessionals. Sheikh, a veterinarian, was vocal in ways that made it fully to air about his uncertainty regarding physical attraction to Deepti. This was not a small sidebar. It was a running theme. Deepti found out the full extent of what had been said at the reunion, with the cameras rolling in front of a live audience. Her response was composed, direct, and delivered without a single unnecessary word. She said no at the altar. She did it calmly, she did it clearly, and she did it in a white outfit that the internet discussed for weeks. The self-respect icon does not always look like the most dramatic person on the season. Sometimes they are the one quietly clocking everything, right up until the moment they decide they have seen enough. Deepti has since written a book and built a whole platform around knowing your worth. She earned every bit of it at that altar. The true believer. Lauren Speed is a content creator, author, and one half of arguably the most successful couple Love is Blind has ever produced. She got engaged to Cameron Hamilton in the pods of Season 1, married him on the show, and remains married to him. They have written a book together, they have a social media presence that suggests two people who genuinely like each other, which in this format is notable enough to mention. Lauren came in with real skepticism about the process. She was not immediately swept up in the experiment the way some contestants were. She asked real questions, she took her time. And then she connected with Cameron, a machine learning engineer who was almost comically sincere and all in from very early. And she let herself trust it. Lauren and Cameron are not interesting because they are dramatic. They are interesting because they are the proof of concept. The evidence that the premise of this show is not entirely delusional. The Chaos Groom. Shayne Jabs is a real estate agent from Chicago who got engaged to Natalie Lee in the pods of Season 2 and then spent the entire engagement being an emotional roller coaster that Natalie was apparently not warned she had purchased a ticket for. He was loud, he was enthusiastic, he had the energy of a golden retriever who had consumed an inadvisable amount of espresso. He was also, by the evidence of the season, genuinely not equipped for the sustained emotional maturity that a real engagement requires. His dynamic with Natalie was characterized by intense highs, significant lows, and at least one argument that escalated to a point that made viewers visibly uncomfortable. Natalie said no at the altar. She has since spoken about her decision with a clarity that suggests she did a lot of processing between filming and the reunion, and all of it pointed in the same direction. The Chaos Groom always believes he is ready. That is the whole bit. Shayne believed in the connection, believed in the process, and believed he was bringing everything required. The gap between his self-assessment and Natalie's experience of him was one of the widest Season 2 produced. He has since expressed regret about his behavior, which is the correct response, just delivered about 6 episodes too late. The Collateral Damage. Natalie Lee is a business analyst from Chicago who got engaged to Shayne Jabs in the pods, spent the subsequent weeks being measured and thoughtful in a situation that rewarded neither, and then said no at the altar. She was not the source of the chaos around her, she was the person the chaos kept happening to, which is a specific and exhausting position to be in on a reality show. Natalie handled the process with more grace than the process deserved. Her conversation with Shaina, in which Shaina essentially confirmed her feelings for Shayne while Natalie was standing right there, is one of the most uncomfortable scenes Season 2 produced, and Natalie navigated it with a composure that most people in that situation would not have managed. She left the show with her dignity fully intact, her answer clearly delivered, and a very clean ending to a storyline that had been anything but. The collateral damage does not always get recognized because they are not the ones making noise. The one who deserved better and knew it. Kyle Abrams is a glass installer from Chicago who got engaged to Shaina Hurley in the pods of Season 2 and spent the engagement in a situation that was, by any reasonable measure, not going to work, and could see it coming and stayed anyway, because he was genuinely in it. He was warm. He was direct. He was also left at the altar by a woman who had been emotionally elsewhere for most of their engagement. Kyle's specific heartbreak was not just the no at the altar. It was the sustained experience of being with someone who was present in body and somewhere else entirely in mind, and having to piece together what that meant in real time without anyone telling him directly. That is a particular kind of painful, and the show documented it with more clarity than Kyle probably appreciated while it was happening. He has since been candid in interviews about his experience with Shaina. The one who deserved better and knew it is rarely the most dramatic person on the season. They are usually the one the audience wants to reach through the screen and tell to walk away a little sooner. The Altar Disaster. Bartise Bowden is a neurosurgery sales rep from Dallas who got engaged to Nancy Rodriguez in the pods of Season 3. Spent the engagement visibly distracted by Raven Ross, said out loud at the altar that he thought Nancy was not the most physically attractive woman he had ever seen, and then said no. He did all of this with the confidence of a man who had not fully considered how any of it would land. The Altar Disaster is in it for the emotional experience. The pods, the connection, the intensity of falling for someone in a controlled environment. That part they do beautifully. The part where they have to actually commit to a specific human being with a specific face and a specific future is where the wheels come off. Bartise was emotionally available right up until real life asked him to be, and then he made a series of decisions that the Season 3 reunion aired in front of everyone. His comments about Nancy's appearance at the altar were genuinely stunning in the way that only completely unfiltered honesty can be stunning. Nancy deserved significantly better. She has said publicly that she is grateful she did not marry him, which is also the audience's unanimous position. The Altar Disaster always thinks they are being brave by being honest. Sometimes they are just being a lot. The Wronged One. Ike Ejikeme is a nonprofit director from Seattle who appeared on Season 4, got engaged to Lydia Velez Gonzalez in the pods, and walked into a situation that had layers he was not fully briefed on. Specifically, that Lydia had a significant prior relationship with another man in the cast, Milton Johnson, that she had not disclosed before they got engaged. The way this information came out, the timing of it, and how everyone handled it made for some of the most genuinely tense viewing Season 4 produced. Ike's reaction to the information about Lydia and Milton was not always perfectly calibrated. He also had a real and reasonable foundation for every feeling he was having, which the show did not always give him full credit for. He said no at the altar. The reunion was a whole additional chapter. What stays with you about Ike is the specific frustration of watching someone navigate a situation they did not create, responding imperfectly to it, as most people would, and still ending up as part of a story that gets told as though everyone was equally at fault. The Wronged One rarely gets the clean narrative they deserve. That is part of what makes them so compelling to watch. The Ride or Die. Amber Pike is a former soldier and self-described adventurer who got engaged to Matt Barnett in the pods of Season 1, married him on the show, and remains married to him. She came into the process knowing exactly what she wanted and with a level of emotional directness that was startling in a format that usually rewards ambiguity and hedging. Amber did not hedge. She did not keep her options open. She picked Barnett, she told him clearly, and she handled the other women who had feelings for him, including Jessica, who was not subtle about it, with a confidence that read as either very secure or very territorial, depending on which episode you were watching. She had debt. She talked about the debt openly. She was not performing a curated version of herself for the cameras, which in this specific format is either the bravest or most chaotic choice available. She knew what she was doing. She got what she came for, and she is still married, which in the Love is Blind universe is essentially winning the whole thing. And they do not spend a single episode staring into the middle distance wondering if there was a better option in the other room.